Today we're going to be talking to Karl, who's on the screen now. We're going to be talking a bit about sales, marketing, and branding, primarily around Canva and how you can use that, because it's a really cool, really powerful tool that most people have access to. Should be okay using, or hopefully will be after today anyway, and how you can utilize that and some of the techniques and stuff that are involved when it comes to sales and marketing online. We're going to talk a bit about how you can, mainly around like Instagram, some cool things you can do with Instagram as well in order to leverage your brand on there. And yeah, that's the kind of thing we're going to be chatting about today. If anyone does have any questions at all as we go through this, please do let us know inside the comments. Just ask away. I'll be making a note of them down here, any questions that come through, and I'll either interject where it makes sense to interject, or I might leave them towards the end as well and ask them down there. But yeah, I think we're all good. We've got a few people in already, which is great. So first of all, hi Karl, how are we doing?
Oh, good mate, you?
Yeah, not too bad. Happy after last night's result, but I'm all good.
That's why people aren't jumping on. They're all hungover, hopefully.
Yeah, that's what it is. Hopefully, hopefully everyone's still hungover from yesterday and celebrating. For anyone, by the way, obviously a lot of people from the US inside this group. It was a good day for England yesterday. A good day for England beating Germany for the first time in a long time in a tournament game. So a lot of people are very happy over here. Cool. So let's just get straight into it. First of all, maybe a quick introduction. If people's never met you before, maybe I know you try and do stuff in the group anyway, but if no one's ever met you before, who are you? What is you do, and how do you help people?
Yeah. So hi, I'm Karl. I've got a company called the PT Mentor UK. So I deliver mainly personal training qualifications, gym instructor qualifications, etc., helping people come into the industry. The reason I set up my own company 5 years ago is because I've been teaching courses for 10 years now. But as some of you are probably aware, and people like Ash obviously do a great job in upskilling you guys and coaches, trainers, physios, etc., in the industry. And that's why I set up my own company, to not just give people a certificate, but to actually help them long term with sales, marketing, branding, how to approach someone in the gym, how to actually become a personal trainer. Because as Ash and I have this habit of chatting for ages off air, we had to catch up yesterday when he was on my podcast previously. Like we waffle on, and then
An hour.
we should save this for this. But as we were saying there, like the state of some course providers just whiz you through in 5-6 weeks. There's your certificate, there's the door, see you later, and you have your certificate and you have no idea what you're doing. So I think there's a massive gap for courses to help people long term, and that's what I sort of try and do. I qualified 20 years ago, and again, as we were saying yesterday, luckily I can waffle for England, as you'll tell in a second. But if it wasn't for that, I probably would have quit after a couple of years. But luckily, I can approach anyone and talk about anything, so I didn't have that problem. And Facebook wasn't around back then, 20 years ago. It wasn't even around. So
Not even a thing, was it?
Yeah, so it was good old fashioned speaking to people in the gym, not like what we're going to go through today.
Yeah. No, interesting. I always thought that the principles behind what you do is technically the same, isn't it? I think the very root principles between like what you might do in person or in the street or wherever, like how you actually have to go about it is the same. It's just like the medium is now different, isn't it? I think I always find that quite interesting. Like throughout history, really, nothing's really changed too much in terms of how you sell and market. It's just the medium in which it's actually done now is different, which can make it sometimes be better, sometimes be worse. But there you go. Yeah, it was all. I mean, yesterday, like I say, was chatting quite a bit yesterday.
So I was going to say, just on that, Ash. Like,
Yeah.
good point. Like with regards to content, I can't remember if I've made this already or it's on my list to do, so it might be a spoiler alert. But when people jump into your DMs, like, oh hi, sign up to this, and you think, like, you wouldn't do that in real life. You wouldn't go up to someone in a gym and go, hi, sign up to 20 sessions. Like, you have to build that rapport. And social media, you still need to do exactly the same. You need to build that rapport through your content, through your marketing, through things like this, to get that know, like, and trust, to then go in with the sale. If it's very much straight in, and we've all, as I've said, that the DM thing, everyone, I hope have had those sleazy DMs, but you probably have.
Most people, yeah, I think most people have. I probably get about 4 or 5 a day at least.
Yeah,
it's unreal.
They're just on rotation, aren't they? It's sort of like they'll disappear for a few weeks and they'll come back and be like, "Oh, hi Ash, how's business?" You're like, bugger off. I've already tried it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think it is an important thing to think about when like I say, with the social side, it is social media. You do have to build up relationships. You can't just, like I say, you wouldn't do it in the street, would you? You wouldn't walk through the street shouting out to people. You wouldn't go in, like say, into the gym and just go buy this, buy this, buy this straight away. It doesn't. It just doesn't happen like that. You have to build up the. Everyone's heard about it, the know, like, and trust. You still had to do that before social media. You still have to do that with social media. So it hasn't really changed much on that side of it. Um, I mean, what I think would be interesting because we chatted a lot yesterday about the kind of state of the industry as it is at the moment, and especially on the training side. And I think we've talked about nearly a good 40 minutes on this yesterday. So maybe not spend 40 minutes talking about it now, but we can kind of recap some of that. So I remember when I first went to my PT qualifications, it was very much just go in, learn about anatomy, learn about how to basically just do things safely more than anything else. But I didn't really learn much else outside of that. Like I learned how to program, learned a bit about nutrition at the time. I learned a bit about like how not to really injure somebody, and like what a parkour was. I think I learned that as well. It's sat there, but that was pretty much it. And then you kind of say, right, off you go. And I can remember being sat in the room where I did it at with some other the other PTs that are in there. And I was quite lucky because I had a business background anyway. So I kind of knew where I was going to go. That decision to go and become a PT was actually part of a bigger plan that I had before I went there. I didn't just go to become a PT and think that's what I'm going to do. So I was quite lucky in that. But a lot of people inside that room that I was with and on my course weren't in that situation. Most of them thought they're going to come out of there and go and get employed and get a job. And obviously, they're going to have a bit of a reality check when they kind of went into the real world of PTing. Do you think that's a bit of an issue at the moment? Do you think that there's not many providers trying to do what you're doing and actually setting up people to be successful? Do you think it's more just about here's some paper and away you go?
Yeah, definitely. Unfortunately, like I said, I've been doing this 10 years, 5 years. We're working for some of the big companies in the country and the sort of the gold standard, as they like to be known. But there's not much difference to like people that frown upon some of these smaller providers who, well, I say small providers, like the big providers that just churn out hundreds of people each week. Um, but the sort of the range of them, what they're trying to achieve is pretty much the same because they're all businesses. Like you're a business, I'm a business. Anyone listening to this is a business. But if you don't give a crap about the people that you're churning out, like what an awful business model. Because people always say, "Oh, I done my course with Joe Blogs," but they're no good. So you should go and do the course with this guy instead. And it's all about reputation, isn't it? And I think if you're putting idiots out into the industry and just taking the money and just churning them out and running, that's your business model. Let's get as many people through every single year as we can and not really give a shit about them long term. I think what would work better if after a year or two that personal trainer that's qualified turns around and says, look, I'm now earning 60, 70, 80 grand a year because of all the ongoing support I've got with this training provider. That's going to be a bigger sell to everyone else that they go and tell.
Mm,
Like I said, it's like we were saying yesterday, you learn anatomy and physiology for 10, 12. It used to be 12 weeks when I done my course.
mm,
Mine was Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 for 12 weeks. And I didn't learn anything about sales, marketing, branding, nothing. But I think after about 3 or 4 weeks, the anatomy went out my head, and I could just about, like you said, I could just about fill out a park with someone and take their blood pressure, and write them a half decent program. But a lot
mm,
of the learning, as everyone will probably agree, is after the course. Learning how to speak to someone, learning how to use social media, Instagram, Facebook groups. That's the things that they don't tell you, and that's the things that I personally believe everyone needs to know, not more of, because yes, you do need to know all the good stuff on the course,
mm.
but if you don't know the other bits, they don't go together, do they?
No. I think it's a very different. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here. I do wonder whether it's because it's the educational approach to something. So like, you think when you go to, say, if you go and do further education somewhere, normally you'll go and pick a course you want to do. So something, maybe some kind of vocation or something you need in order to get the job you want or to be employed to do something you want. So what tends to happen is you go and get this qualification, and then by having it, you can then become whatever, I don't know, lawyer, doctor, whatever you need to do. You'll go and work for a company, and then you'll cut your teeth and you'll learn bits. But generally speaking, someone else's job is to do the sales, is to do the marketing, is to do whatever, and they're just basically putting this work on your table, and you're getting paid X amount of money per year in order to do that particular job. it's almost like the PT training courses are like set up in the kind of same way. Like we're going to give you the skill set in order to do this safely, because that's what they're about really. It's about making sure you know what you're doing and you can do it relatively safely and help somebody move from A to B. But the basics of doing that. But then it's almost like it's set up like you're going to go and get a job somewhere, where, especially in the UK anyway, that doesn't really happen. Almost straight away, if you want to go and work as a PT, you go to your gym, they might say, "Oh, we'll give you a month free or do whatever," but then you're going to pay rent after this. And you very quickly realize that you're not actually now an employee. What you actually are is a business owner. And it's a very different way of thinking. And I wonder whether that's why it's been set, why it kind of feels like you're being left in the lurch sometimes, and why there's such a huge churn and huge turnover of PTs in the industry. Do you think that's got something to do with it, or am I miles
Yeah,
off there?
yeah, no, definitely. Like you said, you're qualifying as a personal trainer to go and do a personal training role within a gym or leisure facility. You're not really, or over the years it's sort of changed slightly, but you're not qualified and taught how to become a personal trainer. You're qualified as one, but like you said, if you go into a gym, and again, this completely depends on all the people that have been there before you, i.e., the gym manager, the center manager, etc. If you can get amazing support from those around you, you're going to learn the ropes quicker. If it is you've qualified, you're going to go into a gym, and like you said, here's a client for you, train them like you've learned on your course. Yes, I can do that. If it's like, right, go walk to the gym floor and pick up some clients, that's where people are a bit like, I don't know what to do there, because that's
Mm.
not taught. And like you said, most gyms these days are, let's get as many personal trainers in as we can because they're going to pay us a load of rent money each month, but they're going to run their business out of our facility. But then they don't help them grow their business because they've got their rent money. You're self-employed, crack on with it. But again, if you're paying out £600-700 a month gym rent, but you don't know how to sell and market, you'll soon, after a few months, you're going to think, sod this. I've paid out 3 grand and I haven't got a single penny in. But yeah, it's like you said, it is. They're taught to do that job role, but they're not taught how to become a personal training independent, one person, all singing, all dancing business. And that's
Mhm.
where there's a massive lack, I think.
And is that where your company, I guess, PT Mentor, and what you guys do come in? Like, what is it that makes you different? Do you actually deliver like a recognised course on top of what they're doing, or do you just offer something alongside what they're doing, or to prepare them for when they go into the market? How does that kind of work with you
Yeah, so
guys?
obviously it's like we deliver active IQ qualifications who are like the number one. It's the same ones that Premier, NASAM, what do they call themselves these days? It's the same qualification that they deliver. So we deliver like the best course out there. But like I said, from the second that someone even inquires, I jump on a call with them and say, right, what do you want to do long term? And if they're like, I haven't really thought about it, I'm like, well, go away and think about it and come and do a course afterwards. Because if you haven't got a plan, like you said a minute ago, if you haven't got a plan of, right, I'm going to do this qualification to go and do whatever, if it's like, oh yeah, my mate's a PT and it sounds fun, so I might just do that. I'm like, no, like I don't want to take your money because you think it's going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of like study involved. So the coursework itself is set in stone because they've got to hit certain bits and pieces. But then what I like to do is help them understand why they're doing that. So with a client consultation, for example, before you have to do your practical, when they're sitting there going through the criteria and they're technically I'm ticking them off,
Mhm.
I want to see it a bit more in depth or a bit more real life. Or if they ever sort of say, "Oh, I think I've done this, but I'm not sure why I've done it," it's like, okay, let's sit to one side, let's go through it. So all our course delivery is one to one. So if some people are great at anatomy and not very good at planning, we'll go through that in a bit more detail. So it's not just a classroom full of 20, 30 people all spoon fed information. Also, what I try and do is make it as applicable as possible to what they want to achieve long term. So if it's like, oh, I want to train women only, or I want to train men over the age of 40, I try and get them thinking of that again, almost from that first call. Like, who do you want to work with? What do you want to do? You're going to have your own business. You're going to work in a gym. To sort of set that in stone from the first call, because we know how we can sort of guide their business. Some people want to be online trainers, so I always suggest go and get your foot in the door and work with real life people before that happens. But yeah, it's not sort of. I think it's like with regards to the ongoing support, it literally depends on them. Like, everyone should have email marketing, Canva, all that sort of thing that I suggest. But it's just sort of trying to fit that into what they want to achieve, who they want to target, and trying to give them that ongoing support, which is, months, years after the course. It's not just there's your certificate, good luck.
Well, I mean, obviously you mentioned Canva there, so it's probably an obvious time to start moving on to kind of what we're mainly going to be focusing talking about today. So part of that stuff you're doing with your trainers, if you like, or your trainees that are coming up, is looking at like how they're going to how you're going to create this pathway for them to get to where they want to be, alongside what they need in order to actually do that, for the insurances and all that kind of thing. Obviously, part of that will be talking about how they how they sell, how they market, how they create their own brand, based on where they actually want to be when they finish that. So I know yesterday we talked a bit about this as well. We had a quick catch up. Like, what kind of stuff do you do, and what things can people here listening today? Because obviously, most people who are watching this, most people in this group will already be qualified trainers who are probably moving online or thinking about moving online or wanting to introduce an online element to it, and trying to get clients online as well. What kind of things can people be doing to help them do that? What kind of presence can they put out there in order to start attracting the kind of clients that they're after?
Yeah, definitely. I think you've got to understand who it is you're talking to. And I hate saying the word niche now, because all these guru idiots sort of have focused on the word niche so much, or your ideal client, or your high ticket, and all this rubbish. They've made it almost like a horrible word now, haven't they? But I think you do need to focus on a certain demographic, because if you, like you said earlier about sort of shouting, "Oh, I'm a personal trainer," no one knows what that is. If you stood on local Tesco roof or multi-story car park and literally shouted, "I'm a personal trainer," people might look at you and think, "Who's that weirdo?" But if you shouted out, "I help men over the age of 40 lose body fat," quite a few people in that street are going to stop and think, "Hold on, what's he talking about? Because that's me. Like, is he talking to me?" So
Mhm.
I think you've got to speak their language and speak specifically to one person. With, as you'll know, and hopefully some people listen to this, if you put anything out on social media, an email, you've got to almost speak to that one person. So if you start a conversation or an email, "Hi guys," it's not very personal. If it's like, "Hi," like, you can put your name in an email, for example, if it's like there's sort of different bits you can use to do that.
Mhm.
But if it's speaking specifically to one person and solving that one problem, you've got that person hooked. If it's not for that person, they're going to scroll past your social media. That's fine. They're going to not read your email. That's fine, because they were never going to buy anyway. So I think if you sort of target it specifically to your ideal person, again, sorry for that phrase, it's been milked by
Yeah.
gurus. If you sort of like target your ideal client and you know who that person is, you know what problems they're going to have, and you can then come up with the solutions to their problems. All those solutions to problems is what you can use in your marketing. In
And
a
do you
nutshell.
think, in a nutshell, do you think that before we go and look at some ways of actually doing this and putting that out there and actually looking at how people you can put that together, what would you say to anybody that's worried about, well, I don't want to have a niche. I don't really want to alienate people. I don't really want to like push people away. If I say I'm going to speak to Joe Blogs, who's 45-year-old single fireman from LA, I'm like, isn't that going to alienate a lot of people? What would you say to anyone that said that?
I think if you, again, if you target women over the age of 30 who have had a baby in the past 6 months, who want to lose like body fat, for example, or get their like back to their pre-baby weight,
Mhm.
at first you think, well, that's quite specific, like she's 30, she's had a baby in the past 6 months, and she wants to lose body fat. But how many women would have had a baby in the past 6 months in the whole of the UK?
Mhm.
Especially with lockdown, I think everyone had a flipping
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah, well, I know I had a baby over here.
Well, what else are we going to do, eh?
Yeah.
Straight away, you've got a massive audience, and I think it's better to speak the language of 50,000 people than try and target 5 million people,
Mhm.
because 5 million people are going to be anything from the age of, especially on Instagram, I don't know, the 14-year-olds go on bloody Instagram now. They're all with
Yeah.
TikTok and Reels and that. I think they're all
Mhm.
flipping bin letting. But you've got a demographic from very young to very old
Mhm.
of all different shapes and sizes, all different genders. So
Mhm.
trying to help everyone, sometimes you're going to end up helping no one because you're going to
Yeah.
be confusing your message. If today you post about, oh, I help bodybuilders do this.
Mhm.
Well, I'm not a bodybuilder. Ash, are you a body? I don't know. Ash is probably a
Nah.
bodybuilder under that jump.
I like climbing stuff.
Oh, there you go. And then the next day, if you do a post about cycling, it's like, well, hold on a minute. I've turned up for another bodybuilding picture. So what's he on about bloody cycling for?
Yeah.
That's it. They've gone. Next day, postnatal. It's like, well, Jesus Christ, you're really confusing me now. So you've got to be consistent, in my opinion. You've got to aim a certain demographic. It hasn't got to be, again, using that 30-year-old female that's had a baby, she's going to need help with sleep because she's probably not getting much, her own nutrition, quick fix meal ideas because if she's got a family to feed, how to do quick routines at home because again, as soon as the baby's asleep, right, let's do 20 minutes exercise, or she'll probably go back to the first one and sleep for 20 minutes. Hydration, how to stay motivated, how to get your mindset right. There's a lot you can still
Mhm.
angle at that one person. It's not just all like fat loss tips, fat loss tips, fat loss tips
Mhm.
all the time.
It makes a huge difference, though. I think having that market, not just from a marketing point of view, but from your deliverables. One of the things we do when we set stuff over at PT and Ninja is we try and find out as much about, I want to say, their ideal client avatar or niche or whatever you want to call it. Not just because obviously it's important from a marketing point of view, but by doing that, you can actually tailor your programs to suit, and it saves you a lot of time. It allows you to take on more clients, which in turn allows you to help a lot more people. And that only really works if you have more narrowed approach. Just like you said there, if you was to put a program together and the approach, there's nothing wrong with doing templates. Start with templates, tweak and adapt, adjust them. Like one of the beauties of PTD is that you can do that very quickly. Like in a few seconds, you can have lots of templates set up, and then you can adapt them and adjust them for a particular type of client, from a nutrition point of view, a habit point of view, workout point of view, whatever. But if you've got a bodybuilder and you've got a postnatal 30-year-old woman, that is a completely different approach in everything. The language that you use, how you actually have to coach them, how you program, everything. Like their lifestyles are completely different. So then you're basically doing double the amount of work just to get prepared for doing something. Or if you're not doing double the amount of work, you're sitting there customizing everything as well, which means you're going to limit the amount of clients you can actually take on, the amount of people that you can help. So I think from all elements, right from you know how you market, to bringing your leads, to converting them into sales, right through to fulfilling that actual sale itself, like delivering the services, and even the aftercare after you finish working with them. Like all of that is affected by who your actual avatar is, your client is. And I think it's such an important thing to do. And as much as people don't like it sometimes and they're scared of it, it is an important thing to do. And Jed actually put a comment up on the post on here,
Mhm.
and he's just put, how many people do you need to make a successful business? And then subtract that by 7 billion. Like, there's a lot of people out there. And there's that famous saying, isn't it? Like, you speak to everyone, you speak to no one.
Yeah,
I think that's the important thing. When you don't need a lot of people to have a successful business. So, like,
yeah.
if you've got 500,000 pregnant women in the UK and that's all you're targeting, that's a lot of people to target. There is a lot of people to target.
100%.
Um, so let's go and have a look at like some of the things that trainers here can do. What things can trainers here do in order to like get their brand out there, market? What things can they put online once they've understood who their avatar is and how they want to kind of speak to them? What kind of things can they do to actually start attracting those types of clients into their business so they can at least start having these conversations with them and hopefully move them into being a paid client?
Yeah, definitely. If I share my screen, I can show you some bits and pieces on
Oh,
Instagram and Canva and how you can create some bits and pieces. And just touch on that point you made there about you don't have to have, you don't have to be able to reach everyone. Like I teach my students, sorry, and like I've got a mentorship group as well that people haven't qualified with me can come and learn this stuff from me, just on a monthly basis. And you haven't got, like, everyone thinks you need to have like 10, 20,000 followers on Instagram and stuff like that. But as you'll see in a minute, I've not even got 2,000 people, but then I've had my own business for 5 years. You know, it's sort of growing year on year, and I'm helping other people grow their business. It's like where you see these gurus and they've got like 20,000 people, but they're not helping anyone because they're just full of rubbish, to be honest. But
There's a
anyway,
bit of vanity there sometimes with high numbers, isn't there? I'd rather have 2,000 followers that I'm actually going to help and are more likely to buy from me than 200,000 followers who ain't going to spend a penny with me and not listen to anything I put out there. So I'm having no impact, really.
that's what
I
I
think
mean.
that's
And
the
if you're
important thing.
helping,
You need to have impact.
yeah, if you're helping like a high percent of your small following, that's better than helping a tiny percent of a massive following. And
Yeah.
I think some people look at these numbers and they sort of think, oh, well, that guru's got 50,000 followers. He must be good, or she must be good. But then that person basically tells you what they've done in their own business, and then they're like, right, this is what you've got to do. So you're just like a little mini person of them,
Mhm.
like trying to do what they've done to be successful, but that's not you. So I think you need to find your own voice, your own brand. You need to understand, again, the person you're trying to target, speak their language. But yeah, I've created some good old slides in Canva. So if I
But
shoot,
hey, the
if
amazing tool that Canva is.
anyone knows me, they'll know I love Canva. So let's move our heads out of the way. I don't even know why I'm pushing that because I hate present mode.
Yeah, I don't like percent mode.
It's like then you have to come out of it, and it's like, oh, there you go, typical. It's thinking about it now. Let's escape that. Okay, I don't even know why I pushed that. Can you see? Is that all right size wise?
Yep. Yeah, we've got it. See it on the screen. Okay.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna minimize you.
Your head's not in the way that much either.
There you go. Hopefully that's all right.
Yeah, perfect.
Cool. So, like I said, creating killer content with Canva. So, I'm a massive fan of Canva. I know Ash uses Canva.
Mhm.
Hopefully, give us a thumbs up or a comment or a like or whatever if you are a fan of Canva. If not, get it. Get Canva Pro. It's like $10.99 a month, I think it is. And it's such a good tool. I use all my content for Instagram, Facebook, presentations, ebooks. You can do landing pages, everything.
It's amazing what you can do. Even videos now.
Yeah, videos. Again, you can present, even though I just said I don't like present, but you can present in there.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but you might like
Yeah.
it. But even like this slide, as you'll see in a second, I think creating headlines that are going to gauge interest. So for you guys, for example, you think, oh, I want to be good on Canva. So rather than just put how to get good on Canva, create killer content with Canva. So it's a little bit more interesting. It's going to pique people's interest more than it would by saying create nice pictures in Canva. Obviously, you're all fitness professionals or health and fitness professionals. So generally, what we tend to do is put a picture of a bodybuilder or someone looking quite fit, healthy, happy. But again, that's not going to grab attention. Someone that looks like a flipping killer that's firing a gun, you'd like to think, is going to get people stopping on the scroll. So on Instagram, Facebook, the whole point of your initial image, your post, your video, whatever it is to stop someone doing that because they want to see it and go, "What the hell?" Like I follow this guy and he talks about PT courses. What's the bloody gun got to do or anything? And you want them to stop for that second. They're going to look at this and then they're going to read that. That's what's going to hook them in. So, what I want to go through is an introduction to AIDA, scroll stopping posts, why you must use a call to action, and any how to create questions. So, if you use Canva and you've got any niggling issues that you don't know how to do anything on there, if we've got time later, just shout out and Ash can tell me questions and I can hopefully show you little hints, tips, tricks.
Cool.
So, Ada. I always think Ada sounds like an Irish lady's name. So, this is my Ada. I always use her when I'm talking about Ada, and she appears in quite a few of my social media posts when I'm talking about this. So, as I said, AIDA stands for attention, interest, details, and action. I use, let me just quickly jump to my Instagram. Can you see my Instagram, Ash?
Yeah, real good.
So, I use carousel slides on Instagram, which are basically like this one, for example, which are posts that you can scroll through, giving ADA, as I'll show you in a second. So they work very well for that, but they also work for individual posts as long as what you've got in the ADA format is in your caption here, which again, I'll go through in a second. So going back to Canva, so the perfect format to use in slides on Instagram, you can use up to 10 slides, which again, I can show you how to create if that's a question, is grabbing your attention with that initial in your face slide, piquing their interest of what you're going to talk about in the next couple of slides, giving them all the details throughout of like the how to, or this is what you need to do to get to desired result, a bit of a recap, and that is what gets you saves on Instagram, and then a call to action, which again, Ash and I were saying yesterday, is that so many people put out great content and they'll grab their attention, they'll build them up, build them up, build them up, and then they don't do this bit at the end. It's almost like
it's a shame, really. It's a waste, isn't it?
Yeah, massively. And I remember I'd done a training ages ago about it, and I literally went through a whole carousel slide about a 6-week fat loss program, and I purposely left off the last slide. And people in that sort of presentation were like, "Oh, I would have actually brought that," and it was to personal trainers, and they were like, "I said exactly what you're doing. You're building people up, telling them all these hints, tips, tricks, and they're like, oh my god, I'm ready to buy, I'm ready to buy, I'm ready to buy," and then it's like it finishes. You're like, oh, well, you've just lost out on a sale because you've not asked for their money, and people don't like sales. People don't like to ask for money. If you don't, the trainer down the road is. So
Yeah.
and especially being in an intergroup, you're going to know a lot more than the trainer down the road because you've got a good understanding of PTD, you know how to do the sales, the marketing, the automations, etc., which again others aren't. So please do not be afraid of the action button. So how you would lay that out in a post is, again, if you're going to solve a problem, again, if you know your ideal client, it's easy to solve their problem. You could grab their attention with the image, hook them in with what you're going to talk about further down, explain the problem that they've got through these, give the solution, recap and summary, action to take. And again, that's great for showing off how your services can solve that problem. Because again, you want people to come through your content and almost be like nodding. Like if you're explaining a problem, just off the top of my head, like, do you suffer from like belly fat? Yeah. Is it a problem to get rid of it? Yeah. Have you tried every single diet under the sun? Yeah. Do you wish there was another solution? Yeah. Then you give them a solution. So you want them nodding as they're going through your content, like,
Yeah.
oh, that's me, that's me, that's me. And then when you get to this bit, it's like, ta-da, here's the magic pill. Not actual
And they
magic.
pretty much nodded and said yes 9 times there. So by the time
Yeah.
we get to the end, it's more likely they're going to say yes again.
Exactly. Because, and that's the whole thing, isn't it? It's like they're saying yes, 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 yes. And then when they get to the end, do you, not in these words, obviously, do you want to buy this? Yes. Because they've, like you just said, they're used to saying yes throughout. If it's like, well, I'm unsure, no, not really, no, I don't like that. When you say, give me some money, they'll be like, no. The how-to post. So if you're doing a walkthrough, guide, recipe, exercises, so many times personal trainers put a picture of them exercising, and then in the caption, it's basically like, how's your day been? It's like, well, hold on a minute. You've got a video of you exercising and you're asking how my day is. Like, nice for you to ask, but why are you not explaining in the caption underneath how to do the exercise you're doing here? I think, don't get me wrong, pictures with you sort of flexing your biceps in the mirror and stuff like that do get a lot of likes, but are they actually serving your audience? Not really. So if you're going to stand there and do a bicep curl in a mirror and take a gym selfie, perfect. I'll show you how you can still do this ADA format with a one-off post. But what I would personally do with regards to exercise is show them what they're going to be learning. So 5 quick tips to improve your bench press, for example. Oh my God, I want to improve my bench press. Hook them in. Do you struggle with doing X, Y, Z in your bench press, or are you still stuck at X amount of kilos that you were 6 months ago? Here's what you need to do. Step 1, step 2, 3, 4, 5. Recap, summarizing all those 5 steps, which again, that's what will get you a save on Instagram. Instagram loves your post getting saved. Action, if you'd like to download my free e-guide on improving your bench press, click the link in my bio. Again, there's one there for client journey. I can send you a link to this presentation, Ash. So if anyone wants to like go back through it when they're rewatching
Awesome.
it, whatever.
Awesome. I'll drop it in the comments. I'll drop in actually the title. You can click it then.
Yeah, cool. It's not that much interesting in what I'm going through now, obviously, but if it might jog their memory when they're like watching it back.
That's cool. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's right. Again, the client journey. If like testimonials are amazing. Everyone does a before and after picture of a testimonial, which is great. But again, you could take a testimonial and spread it across a certain amount of slides. So you could sort of take Rose, for example. She came to me, hated her job, she wanted to qualify as a personal trainer. Here's Rose's story. And then you give a backstory, show her journey. Now she's got 30 clients a week. She's opened her own PT studio. She's taken on more trainers that have come to me for a course, etc., etc. If you want to be right like Rose, click link in my bio, grab the course guide, for example. So you can do a bit of a client journey as well. Like I said, the single image post, this is where people, I think, fail on Instagram with a single image. They get more interest on hashtags, which is completely different flipping video call than just on hashtags alone. But hashtags work on singular posts more than carousel slides. Carousel slides, as you can hopefully see from this, you're going to give a lot more information. And if you've got this recap and summary, you're going to get a lot more saves than just a one-off image, unless you use the caption underneath to put your ADA format into, because it can still go down this way. So your attention is going to be your image with a caption on it potentially. And then next to it, you can put your headline of that post again. And then you're going to use your top line to grab further attention. This is what we're going to be talking about. And then, like I said, work down the caption, piquing their interest, offering them details to solve their problem, and then finishing with a call to action of click link in my bio, share this post, tag in 3 people that need to hear this, whatever you're going to do. Is there any questions on that at all?
There's a couple of questions actually. There's one about why 10 slides.
Because you can have 10, that's the maximum you can have on Instagram. But it doesn't have to be 10. Like this one, for example, that I've done the other day is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Bad example because that is 10.
Okay.
There's some on here that's like only 4, 5. There's some that are only 2. There's some I do like some single ones just to mix it up a little bit. But there is, but 10 is the maximum you're allowed.
Just out of curiosity on that, just to dig on that question a little bit more. So, do you think? Have you noticed the difference in terms of reach between having, say, 10 compared to 2, or is it roughly around the same?
Again, with reach engagement, engagement's going to come down to what you're talking about, what you're posting, how you're also talking about when you're going to be posting. Because I post Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 3 p.m. It always makes me laugh when people share my stuff and they say, "Oh, check out this guy. He posts Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 3 p.m." So people know exactly when I post, which is like absolutely lovely, isn't it? It's like nice that people know that.
Yeah.
Or they've got post notifications on, or they've just happened to have noticed. But you can't. It's like anything. You just like I said before, like shouting from the top of a rooftop. I'm a personal trainer. If you just put a bit of content out today and just said, "Here's a great 10-slide carousel that's going to help fat loss," if you don't do any engagement around that post, bugger all's going to happen. So, which, funnily enough, leads me on to this slide here. Can you see that?
Yep.
So this is some quick tips on how to actually boost your post reach on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So what you've got to do is create a story poll. You know, like on your stories, you can do a yes or no type of question.
Yep.
So, for example, you could do you struggle with fat loss? Yes or no? Or, you know, what do you struggle most with out of exercise, nutrition, whatever you want to ask. That's a simple yes or no question, or like two options. Don't go massive, like mastermind on them. Then do a countdown to that image or that post that you're going to do, which again you can do in your stories. You can put the first cover slide up with a countdown timer on it so people know that it's going to be launching in 12 hours, for example. You should pre engage with your audience, as in go to other people that you follow, go to big accounts, comment on their posts. Like, make sure you put in nice comments, not just like thumbs up. Actually say, love this, Ash, really good like theory on that. You know, love to hear more. Can't wait for your next post. Sounds a bit cringeworthy, but the better your comments are on other people's, you're going to get other people coming and checking out your account because they're going to go, oh, look at that Karl guy. He's left something really useful on Ash's comments. I'm going to go and look at him. And again, it's sort of just playing the game of like numbers. The post itself and then the post engagement, trying to keep people on your feed for longer so you can also share your post after you've put it out there. This is all on my Instagram, so feel free to go and look at this post. But like I said, this is an example. So the day before, put up a post, goes out about your poll, link it to what you're going to be talking about. So client session questions, do you charge monthly packages or pay-as-you-go blocks? Everyone's gone, well, 70% went for monthly, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
The
You'd
evening
hope so.
before, need monthly packages, no pay-as-you-go. The evening before, I created the first slide again for my Canva image into a story size image, and then put a post timer countdown on there so people know it's going live. 20 minutes before, I went out and engaged with other accounts, keyword engage, leave meaningful comments on your posts, not just give a bunch of likes here and there. When your post goes live, people are likely to comment, so be there to reply. So again, I know 3 p.m. like today, for example, I know that around that time I need to be on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Post after your post's gone out there, add it to your story, add a sticker to say people know it's a new post. Click link in your bio. You can tag your name in your Instagram story as well. And then a little while later, you could ask a question about your post. Did you find this post useful? Again, yes or no. Would you like me to create more content around this topic? Yes or no, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, there's a little recap there. Recaps, like I said earlier, is what gets you saves. So anything you list out, exercise routines, nutrition tips, sleeping habit tips, whatever, make sure you've got a bit of a recap towards the end because people will get to here and go, this is quite useful. I'm going to save it. And then a good old call to action.
Mm-hmm.
So will you give this a go? Sometimes I put, let me know below, give this a save, tell them what to do next.
Yeah. Nice.
Did I go off on a tangent or was I on track?
No, that's pretty. It's kind of on track. That was good. Spot on.
Just give me a little poke or something on Messenger if I'm like.
No, we're all good. We're all good. You answered the question pretty well, actually. I say it was just a lot. Carousels is, I mean, it's not that new, but relatively new thing to Instagram. So I think a lot of people can start to get an idea of how to really utilize this. And I think, especially looking at your account there, when you compare that to what a lot of accounts are doing, I think there's so much more that can be done. And having that structure, I think, is such an important part of it. And there are some other questions, but we'll come to them in a bit. We'll work our way through this. I think some of them can wait some of the other questions.
Cool. And like just what you said about sort of my own like strategy, because it is, you know, hopefully I'm sure you spoke about this in your group many times, having a strategy, tactics that's going to sort of get you more eyes, etc. Most course providers talk about a course. It's as boring as anything. It's like even Facebook ads. I put out an ad yesterday, I'll show you in a second. But I was looking at, person that sort of helps me for Facebook ads every now and then. We were looking at other course providers, and it was all like qualify in 6 weeks from just £20 a month. Like, that's boring. Again, I always say you should sell the outcome. If you know, no one wants to go and do shitloads of burpees. They want to fit into a bikini. If you're saying, right, Ash, 6 weeks, I'm gonna get you doing loads of squats, sit-ups, press-ups, burpees. You're gonna eat this. You're gonna drink that. You're gonna have to sleep 8 hours a day. You'll be like, sod that.
Like, good luck, mate.
Exactly. If I said to you, I can get you up that rock that you're going to go and climb 20 minutes quicker. Oh, hold
Well,
on.
that is some money.
Exactly. That's so selling the outcome, isn't it? And again, that's, in my opinion, that's what you can do on Instagram with a bit of a story. So spoke about this before. So scroll stopping posts. Rethink your headlines. Try and put buzzwords in there. Try and have a little bit of a play. Try and be a bit more fun with it. Like I said, the advert I created for personal training course, again talking about being fun, was a picture of Matt Hancock's.
I saw that.
Picture of Matt Hancock's face on a personal training body saying, looking for a new career. Obviously, there was a whole Facebook ad explaining about it, but I was just sort of literally taking the piss out of the fact that, you know, you might be looking for a new career, things haven't worked out well, you've not had a very good team around you, and then linked it to me that I can help you and look after you in your career long term. So again, it's things that are going to stop people scrolling. So going back to this one. Oh, where was I? There it is. So use curious graphics, things that, again, like I said earlier with the gun. Oh God, what's the flipping gun doing on my feed? Link to theme of the post, so killer, gun, stuff like that. Or the one that I just showed you a second ago, how to boost your post reach. So it's a picture of someone on their phone with a rocket coming out of it, hence boost. Or things that are going to maybe, like you guys, I'm sure you've all done free challenges to get people into your Facebook groups or to get people to download the app, for example. So something that's going to make people think, hold on a minute. So why free challenges are shit? Picture of a girl thinking, what's he on about? That hair pulling moment, which sounds kinky. Unfortunately, it's not. It's all about the stress of being your own boss. So it's like pulling my hair out. And let's talk about role play, which was, I can't think what that was about now. It was, do you play out potential conversations you're going to have with sales calls? So the whole theory behind that one was that you wouldn't just, oh, Ash, let's book a call. Oh, hi. You know, and you don't know what you're going to say to that person. You don't know what their objections are, etc. So it's good to have a bit of a role play idea of what you're going to talk about on a sales call. But again, from that, you wouldn't think that's what that's about. But
just make you slide across to see what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. Why the missus isn't looking? Hold on a minute.
Yeah, hang on. What I'm about to get into here.
So yeah, so things like that. It's just sort of knowing some of the words to change, have a play on words with an image. Obviously, it's all on brand. I've changed the red of my brand slightly recently, but that's what it was before. So my brand colours are grey, black, red. Sound very boring when I say them out loud, but that's all on brand. But yeah, it's just sort of having that, you know, like I said, that scroll stopping image. A good book to buy is these books here. So the Emotion Thesaurus,
Okay.
by Angela Ackerman and Becca Puglisi. It's on Amazon. But that is a very good book for words. So, for example, if you're putting something about confidence, just because I went past it. So there's confidence there. And rather than, it's not a boring book to read, I can't read books to save my life. It's all physical signs to do with confidence. So, for example, smiling and a playful grin, a booming laugh, a tilted back head. So rather than using like just the word confidence, you could sort of have a bit of a play on words, and it's more for the copy within the feed itself.
Yeah.
So like trying to think of an example to use, but rather than I want to help you gain confidence, I want you walking into your office and being the one with a belly laugh that's going to get heads turning and wondering what the hell you've been eating for breakfast.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, like, that's more powerful because it's an emotional trait that they can relate to.
Hmm.
So
What's that
think,
called again? The emotions thesaurus.
yeah, yeah, the emotion
Right.
thesaurus, a writer's guide to character expression.
So I can grab a link for it on Amazon, drop it into the comments in case anybody's looking for it.
They've got quite a few of them. Like I've got another one there, the positive trait thesaurus.
Hmm.
There's about 4 or 5 of them altogether. So they've, but like I said, if you, especially like emails to clients, like you guys all do, if you're struggling to get your words across and make it sound sexy, they're very good, especially for email, captions, stuff like that. So I definitely recommend having that. Look at
Awesome.
that. Um, any questions on that at all before I go on to call to actions?
Um, Not particularly. Some of them are more about actually like setting it up itself, but I think we could cover that
Yeah,
towards the end. It's more
yeah,
like the technical side of actually setting things up. Looking at
yeah,
this, there was one we can maybe leave them back and drop it in now anyway, which is
yeah,
not necessarily about that, but it would relate to the copy about the difference between saving and likes and what you should aim for. Because you mentioned there about saving
yeah,
a post.
yeah.
Is that
People,
beneficial?
yeah, people on Instagram um, tend to go, oh, you need to like shares is what makes your content go viral. And then someone else go, oh, saves, you need saves. No, you need likes. No, you need comments. Instagram, the way it works is you need to be getting all of it, unfortunately. So, as I'm sure I have, I'm sure you have, I'm sure everyone listening to this has, you could put out an amazing post. Like the amount of time I spend on Canva is like stupid because I start playing with stuff. I'll go back and do like even this, like, why did I need to do this detail for slides? But I can't help
Yeah,
it. It's just like I like it to look good. I like to play around with Canva.
yeah.
But when you do it for like, especially when you start, you might be doing it for like 2, 3 hours just for one little post, and you put it out and you think, oh my god, it's amazing. I'm going to get loads of money. People are going to sign up, and you get like 3 likes and 1 comment, and you're like, fuck my life. I've just wasted 4 hours creating a bit of rubbish to put out that looks awful. So don't ever be disheartened because I'm sure Ash will agree. Like so many people are probably looking at your content from
Mhm,
distance, but not ever liking it,
mhm,
commenting, saving it. But they're still like still reading it, and they're probably still
mhm.
taking on action. So
A
don't
lot
ever.
of the time, I get messages from people like, because obviously I take a look to see who's interacting sometimes on my posts and whatever. But a lot of the work we get in the sales we get, especially at PT Ninja, come through from people saying, "Oh, I've seen you do this or watch you do this." I'm like, I've never seen them comment, never seen them like anything. Like most people that tend to like and comment are people I've actually worked with. It's the people that haven't yet don't tend to. They tend to watch and then they reach out and get in touch with us. It's quite interesting. I'm sure there's some psychology behind that, but I don't know what it
Yeah,
is.
definitely. I think like some people just don't. I don't follow some people back because as horrible it sounds. And again, this is a whole other conversation. But if you
Mhm,
sort of follow loads of different people in different sectors, like when it comes up suggested for when you follow
mhm.
someone new, and it
Yeah.
gives you 3 little people. Like you might also like to follow these people.
Mhm,
If you go and um, like all your clients, for example, or your people in your local area that you want to become clients, if you think, oh, I'm going to go follow them all, and they're all like hairdressers, dog walkers, office admin, whatever. When it comes up on like their friends, because you're connected, it will come up as suggested for in their friends.
mhm,
It'll be like your next door neighbour, your dog walker, your hairdresser, and some random personal trainer. People aren't going to click on it. So if people
mhm,
aren't following you, Instagram's going to think, well, no, we keep suggesting this person, but no one's following them. So
mhm,
I always follow people back that are personal trainers that might have messaged and stuff like that. But like I said, some people might even message you and say, "Oh, hi, I want to do a PT course," or "Hi, I want to sign up to PTD Ninja." And if you look at their account, they're not even following you. But like Ash said, they're still engaging, they're still watching from afar. Um, but yeah, so again, sorry, waffling on. Going back to the actual question, it's all relevant, but you're not going to get any of it if you don't engage with other accounts. So the more you go and engage with other accounts, liking, commenting especially, saving bits and pieces, going on big accounts. Like if you see Joe Wicks, for example, love him or hate him, if he's talking about um, a new recipe, jump on, go, this is a great recipe. I try and add chicken to mine, or I do this, or whatever. Put something meaningful that when people are going through those comments, they might see that and go, oh, this person does it with chicken. Let's go and have a look at their account. And if you post a lot of recipes to there, they might start following you. So if you go, again, James Smith, Jamie Alderton, all these people that post about exercise, health, fitness, mindset, whatever your cup of tea is, try and find some big accounts in your niche, follow them, turn on post notifications, be one of the first people to comment because they might also interact with you. So if I was like the first person to comment on some big famous influencer's post, then and that person replied, more likely people from that audience are going to look at it and go, oh, who's this Karl bloke that so and so's talking to? Maybe they're friends, maybe I should go and follow him. So they come and look at your account. When they look at your account, it looks nice, you're more likely to get a follower. So again, long-winded answer to what's the most important. All of it's important, but again, you're not going to get hardly any of it if you're not putting out decent content and you're not engaging, being social on social media.
And the clue's in the name, isn't it? Like, you need to be social on social media. The more social you are, the more reach you'll get, the more engagement you'll get.
Yeah, exactly. And it all comes back to you. And it is, like I said earlier, it's a bit of a game because, like, where I post a lot of content now that's helping businesses, personal trainers grow, a lot more like graphic designers and stuff like that interact with my posts. And it is a bit of a game because they'll come on and go, oh, this is a really useful post. Thanks for posting. And then to return the favor, I might go and comment on theirs next time I see their post come up. And you sort of, again, you sort of almost, for me, like I said, it's almost getting away from the personal trainers, but where I sometimes help people with their graphics as well, it's still a market I'm interested in.
Mhm.
But like I said, if you see people that are talking about injury rehab, nutrition, something that's linked to you, do interact because their followers will need your service.
Cool.
Yeah, call to action. Sorry, waffling again.
All right.
I did warn you at the beginning I'll waffle. Um, kind of, it's like our conversations when we're not pushing record, Ash.
I know, it's crazy. Let's jump off 10 minutes beforehand, and an hour later we're still going.
Oh, shit, we should have pushed record. Right, anyway, call to action. So, as I sort of alluded to earlier, if you don't have a call to action, you've probably read this slide 3 times over while I've been waffling. If you don't tell people what to do, they won't do it. So, again, you can build them up, build them up, build them up with your content, with your engaging, whatever. But if you don't tell them to do something at the end of it, you've lost them. And it's not always got to be buy my stuff, download this, I want your money. So, for example, if you want more likes, comments, ask people to do just that. Found this useful, give it a like. Drop a comment below to let me know whatever. Tell me below which is your favourite, whatever you've spoken
Right.
about in like your 5 tips, for example.
Mhm.
So that's to get more likes and comments. To get more saves and shares, save this guide for later. Again, recap is very good. Post this to your story, tag me in it. So if you want them to do a challenge or something like that, share this for those that need it. So again, if it's giving hints, tips, advice that they might pass on to their friends, whatever. To get more sales and downloads, grab your free guide in the bio. Excuse me. Don't miss out. Join my free session, my group, my whatever today.
Mhm.
To sign up, hit the link in the bio. So that could be to a newsletter, whatever it may be. But again, if you don't add these things at the end, they're just going to scroll all the way through, come to the end. That was nice, and then just carry on. So you are going to capture the people at the end that get to the end. Not everyone's going to go all the way through 10 slides. They might get bored halfway through, or they might have sort of been grabbed by your initial couple of slides, but then realize that's not actually for me. That's fine. If they don't make all the way through and they don't click a link, they weren't ever going to buy anyway.
No.
So don't worry too much. So a couple of examples that I do. So asking people to head to my bio link to sign up to my mentorship. So I've got a picture of my mentorship landing page home screen, which I've put onto a desktop and a tablet. And then with the caption of, do you need help in marketing? Then come check out the monthly mentorship, link in the bio. So it's, do you need help with your marketing? If you do, this is a solution. Click link in my bio. So I'm telling them exactly what they need to do.
Mhm.
This one, do you see how you can use the AIDA method? What I tend to do on some of these is underneath that is put let me know in the comments as well. So that's a bad example. So I would put let me know in the comments or
Mhm.
drop me a DM, whatever, if you
Or
want
whatever
to
you need
change
them
the
to do.
conversation. And then, like I said, with regards to a call to action, for you guys, if you want any more hints, tips, advice on this, drop me a follow. So again, it's not a sale, it's just literally there is a ton load of hints, tips, advice on my Instagram page. So head over to at the PT Mentor UK, and all of these slides, even this one we've gone through, it's a mixture of 2 or 3 slides that are on my Instagram, are all there for you to browse through, use, ask questions, drop me a DM, whatever.
Nice. So that, what I like about that is that you actually managed to use your call to action on this as a demonstration of how you should put a call to action together.
Exactly.
But I think that's also an important thing as well. Like, you don't always have to go in for that sale straight away, even for something like this. Like, there's obviously things which we'll talk about in a minute, how you can help people that's listening. But the most important thing, well, for me anyway, is to make sure you give as much value as possible. Not just because you want to help people, but also you want to make sure that you have the right people coming to you for help. The last thing you want really is people that you either can't help or not in a position to be helped. Yeah, because you get both of those, and there's nothing worse. I mean, I've done that before in the past with almost every business I've ever been involved with. Had it to the point where some people have signed up and maybe our marketing wasn't quite right, and they came in still signed up and paid. So this we sold them, but it just wasn't right for them. And I've done it before where I've literally rang them up and I've seen like their onboarding stuff and things like that. I said, "Look, we really can't help you here," and just literally just giving them the money back because we just can't do it. And it's really important, I think, to make sure that you establish all that first, more than going straight into the sales too early. But for me, it is anyway.
No, definitely. And like the whole thing, like I said, there's hints, tips, advice. I don't want your money. Even if you said, "Oh yeah, I want to come and do a PT course," yes, you might need to do one. If you're in this group, odds are you're already qualified, like we said earlier. But for your marketing, like I said, there's so many hints and tips on there. Use them. If you're stuck, give me a shout. If you're stuck and you don't want to talk to me, Ash will probably know the answer, or Ash can ask me and I'll tell you through him.
I'll make it
But
sound like I know the answer.
yes,
Like, oh, what's the answer?
yeah. Can you tell me? But like my whole marketing strategy, as it were, is like again, you see course providers saying, "Come and do a course." Once you've done a course, you don't need to follow that account, or you're just going to be pitched to all the time. So it's like, I don't want to follow you anymore. You're boring me. I've had the course. You're not helping me afterwards. Whereas my again tactic is that if I can help any of you guys with the hints, tips, advice that's going to bring you more clients, and same with Ash. Like, if you're using PDD and like Ash's service through Ninja and you're getting more clients, if someone says to you, you know, who did you do your course with? Go, well, I actually done it with this company, but this guy called Karl, he does really good, like, he'll help you long term. And then also recommend going speaking to Ash about like improving your client retention, etc. So, I think if you talk about, like I said, for me personally, if I spoke about PT course all the time, it'd be boring, and I don't know how I'd speak about them like on a daily basis.
Mm.
I prefer to sell the outcome, like I said before.
Yeah. There's much more to talk about the outcome as well. Like, it's more you can help, or you can do things with lots of different options of people, I think, which is cool. Just quickly on that, before there are a couple of questions that came in.
Mhm.
Um, well, two actually. One I'll talk about first, and we'll do about the second one. It didn't come in this order. I'll talk about templates. So someone was asking, they're like, "This stuff looks really cool. It looks amazing. Like, does Canva give you templates you can use? Can you buy templates?" I know we talked a bit about templates yesterday, but yeah, it'll be interesting your thoughts on
Yeah,
one, does Canva have templates, and two, what do you think about templates?
Canva gives you templates. So if I just go to add a page, so has everyone got like? Can you do a bit of a poll? Has anyone like not got Canva that this is sort of going to go over their head? Do they want me to like go all the way back to the home screen and show you from scratch how to create stuff, or
I I'll probably say, if I can put a poll on it, I'd probably say most people are probably maybe half and half. I recommend Canva to a lot of people inside here if they're doing stuff, but it might be worth just for the sake of just quickly showing them how to get to that point when they first logged in. It might be quite useful because you know for the actual sizes and things they would use. That thing I think would be quite useful when you're creating the design.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'm just going to get your head out of the way again, Ash. Put you down there. Right. So on your home screen, this is generally what you're going to have. As you can see, you can design anything. You can do presentations, Instagram stories, Instagram posts, logos, flipping the lot. I tend to just literally go create design and away I go. As you can see, I've got so much. Oh, it's not mine. I was going to say, I didn't create that. I've got so much content. All I do is just copy my previous one and then change it again. So if you go into create design, and then you can do a custom size. What you want for Instagram is, if you write this down, or I've got a slide on my Instagram, obviously, it's 1080 by 1350. So you can just do a custom size, hit create, and that will give you this size.
That's in pixels, by the way. I know you can do it in inches and centimeters on there. So in pixels, PX.
I'll be like massive.
Otherwise.
A1, like right big old pen. The reason I do this is, if you notice, on your Instagram home grid, they're all square. So these are all 1080 by 1080. As I open it up, you'll now notice, if you can see in the background, my name and website is not on that image in the background, but it is now.
That's very clever.
When people are scrolling through the home feed, a slightly bigger picture takes up a bit more space on a mobile phone. So as you're scrolling through, rather than seeing like half of someone's picture and half of someone else's, they're going to see your picture bigger. The other reason I do it is because if I had my name, etc., all in that little box, it's going to be a bit more crowded. So, like I said, I always go for, not you, where have you gone? I always go for this. And then what you do to make it so that you know you're within the box that's going to be shown on Instagram is, if you go into elements and you just search a square, or sometimes it might pop up here. If you drag that to the side and to that side, if you notice in that little black box, it's got width 1080, height 1080. If I centralize that, that is what's going to be shown in Instagram. So you can put your name, website, whatever underneath and around it. So what I do, I go to text, Muir, for example. So I'll put my name up there. You can duplicate 3 dots. Oops, missed. Duplicate. Drag that down. Oops, can't spell my name. UK. So I'm going to leave that there for now. Just for an example. So again, on Instagram, anything up here, anything down there wouldn't show up, just what's inside this box. With creating, again, like your bold headers, I tend to align the text to left, because we will read from left to right, and there's some fancy like marketing or sciencey reason behind it as well. So I align everything to left. And what I also do, if I make that bigger, because of the big spaces in between, it doesn't look very nice. So if you do spacing up here, and then the line spacing, make your text a bit more bold in your face, and then you can add an image. An actual photo.
That's something worth mentioning whilst you're going for this. All these images you can see that Karl's picking up, the text, the fonts and things, these are already pre-installed into Canva, and they're all open license images. So you can use them now. On the free version, there's some that you can't use. You'll notice how where it's hovering there, it says Pro over the top. So there'll be Pro version. So that's the $10.99 a month version. But there's a free version of Canva. But I would highly recommend you get the paid version for the cost, because it's
100%.
It's honestly, it's incredible. You can even schedule social media posts through it in theory if you want to now. It's very, very cool. Anyway, Sorry, I was interrupting.
That's right. But yeah, with the, like you said about the Pro, what you can do is that image of her, obviously grey background, that might not be your brand colours, but with the Pro, you can select the image, it's highlighted, you can go Effect, and then you can remove the background. It takes a few seconds.
Takes a minute, isn't it?
So you have to sort of make sure you're listening to Alexa or something at the time.
Yeah.
But eventually, it will get rid of the background.
Yeah. I think it works in most backgrounds. As long as the background's a solid colour, isn't it? The same colour, basically. It should do it on it.
Yeah, some of them. But then the good thing is, it will come up in a second, hopefully. If you do want to delete stuff, like my Matt Hancock head,
Mhm.
you can use. There you go. So
There you
now,
go.
background, you can use these two buttons here to erase or restore stuff. So what I've done with Matt Hancock, I took a picture from Google, took the background away, and then I erased all round here and all of this to cut his head off.
Oh, nice.
So here's my removed background. So let's put her down there. What I do with my carousels also is I like it to look a bit more realistic, and as you're swiping, put some of the image on one slide and some on the next, which I'll show you in a second. So
That encourages the move, doesn't it?
yeah, and it's like, oh, how did they do that? So I'm going to remove that red square just for a minute, just because I know that she's now in my red square.
Mhm.
What I'd also do is, speaking of brands, it's good to have your brand fonts, your brand colors, etc. So I use Anton for my headlines. Feel free to use Anton for yours. And I use Poppins Light for my sans text, or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
And the reason is, go on.
I was going to say, another cool thing to mention about the Pro version of this is that you can pre-store all that and have it saved as your brand, so you don't have to keep finding it either. Same for your colours and everything like that.
Yeah.
I like Canva too, if you ain't gathered.
Canva's the best thing that I've ever had. But yeah, so that's what I would sort of do. There's my background, needs to be added to in a second. So let me go to my go-to color. Oops.
That's impressive. But you know that off your head.
Yeah, so I've got it written up there, but I do know off the top of my head. It's not too FF5757. It's not that hard.
That's not too bad. I can't remember mine.
So there's what I would potentially have as a headline. My OCD will kick in, and I'll probably play around with this even after this call, just because it's not exactly how I'd want it. Other cool things you can do is you can give her a bit of a shadow. You can go effects, and there is shadows in here now, but it's a bit glitchy. Typical. Come on.
There you go.
There's like shadows. You can do a drop shadow, angle it. You can give her a whole glow, etc. But the way, literally, that's like only about a month or so old, that feature. The way I do it is highlight her, duplicate her by pushing this button here. So she's just dropped off to the side, which is pretty much where a shadow would be. Go filter, make her street, adjust brightness down. Apologies if I'm doing this quick.
That's cool.
Contrast up, so she's like really blacked out. Give her a bit of a blur. And then transparency, which is this chessboard. Drop it to like 17, for example, and then put shadow position, to the back.
Nice.
And if you highlight both, so I've got my finger down and highlighting both, just to drag her across, you can see now she's got a slight shadow around her.
Oh, yeah.
And like I said, I'll keep playing around with this until it's sort of like, again, nice and sort of in your face that you're going to stop scrolling. She's probably not the best person to make you think, oh my God, what's she talking about? But like I said, if you now duplicate that page, so you can get rid of the headline for a minute, let's get rid of my name for a minute. What you can do here is these white dots on the side, drag that over. If you click anywhere now, you're going to lose this little box. But if you grab that box, and put her over there. Purple lines around the edge show you that she's lined up. Do the same with her shadow. Bring that up because the shadow slightly dropped. Drag that over. Drag that over behind her. And then if you push this little button down here, it shows you it like that. And if you want, you can like drag that across and put it right next to it.
Nice.
So again, as people are scrolling, they go in. You can't read, like I can show you on here, obviously, but like him, it's nicer when you scroll slowly on a phone. But as you scroll, it's like seamless that he across two images. And it just makes
very cool.
It nicer, yeah. Like this one, for example, talking about tactics. So I've got football tactics, again, play on words. Again, it's just on there.
Oh, nice.
So it's just something sort of cool that makes it look quite cool. Going all the way back to like branding, which was the original question, again, before I started waffling, I would find two fonts, one bold, one sans, for like headlines and stuff like that. Then I would also find something a little bit bold. I wouldn't use that again for sort of text throughout. What I use is Ebus Newer Acrylic or whatever that's called, for sort of subheadings. And I'll show you in a second why. I'll put that on the same line. So that would be a subheading. And then I'd use this for like the text.
Oh, yeah.
So again, they go quite well together. If that was like a full paragraph, obviously, or bullet points, they go quite nice together. But if you have too many fonts on one page, it's a bit like, oh God. So try and stick to two on any one page, unless you've got something where you might sort of be pointing something out. Like there you go, for example, I've got, that's that second font I just showed you, and I've got like beep beep because of the traffic. So I just needed to be a bit more beep beep-ish. And stuff like that. But again, as you can see, beep beep-ish. As you can see, there's my sans font and my second bold font that go quite well together. But a good use of images, pictures of you, obviously, because they want to get to know you. Because it's all well and good having these nice stock images, but they also want to see what you look like. And if you can put your humour into it, like I said, with the headlines, the funny images, stuff like that is always good. So again, going back to brand, it's not just always your colour and your font and your logo, it's how you speak, how you interact, the wording you use, and so on.
Nice, very smart. And those things you can just basically copy and in essence use them as a template so you can tweak and adapt and whatever. But it was very quick, just the whole process there to do all that. I guess with practice it becomes quicker, like anything. Yeah,
and the thing is, like I said, like you just said, like this is where's today's post? So here's today. So again, you can mix it up a little bit. So again, if you look at mine, sort of if I scroll right back, I always used to put everything over to the left, picture to the right, and as you can see from these, they're all fairly similar because it's like, that's what I'm going to get. I know all about it. Sometimes I go off on a bit of a tangent and sort of change things around. So there's a bit of a quote there, there's a quote there, quote there, just to sort of mix stuff up a little bit. So I think they've got a few people that are Facebook ad specialists, like David Kyle, you know David Kyle as well, don't you? Someone tagged him into this post because I said Facebook ads are a waste of money. But then again, that's the thing that I've done to grab people in. Caption, I was saying they're a great tool, but if you're not targeting the right people, then they are a waste of money. So again, throw something controversial out there. Obviously, make sure you've got a decent explanation underneath it. But yeah, so now I'm just sort of trying to play around with different fonts. Generally, they're there, but it's just sort of trying to make it look a bit more eye-catching sometimes.
But everything, whichever you look at for all of that, is clearly your stuff. It's clearly your brand, which I think is the important side of it. And I guess that comes as well with experience and time and whatever. But yeah, I think it's an important thing because it kind of builds a level of trust unless people just recognise it. And eventually, kind of like what you mentioned earlier, people will literally just come back for it, especially if you have that continuity there of posted, like yours is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 3, or in whatever it is, half an hour for you. So yeah, like people know to come back and have a look at that because you've got that continuity there, you've got that brand there, which I think is really cool.
And it's not always got to be the same. Like the writing's not always got to be like that red color. It can be black. It can be white. As long as you've got like 2 or 3 brand colors, you know, you can sort of mix it up. And again, as you can see, the backgrounds change color and the text change color. If you can try and, like him, for example, he's got a jumper that pretty much matches my brand color, perfect. So sometimes you might find an image that you think, got to use that image. And again, it's just linked. So anxious, he looks anxious. Here's why your leads have stopped, a light bulb moment, how to write better copy, someone sitting there on a typewriter, you know, website mistakes you avoid, someone looking stressed like they've made a mistake, and my mate Ada, etc., etc.
Good old Ada. We've got I hope we've got time. We've got one more question if we've got time for it.
Sure.
I know I'm keeping you for like an hour and a half nearly.
The
last one was on templates themselves. So like, obviously we talked a bit about this yesterday. Someone was asking about, can you get templates for these kind of things? Actually, you can buy them. Obviously, you can. You see them advertised all over the place about buying these templates. What's your thoughts on templates and using them?
So templates, when you're starting out, you've actually got a shed load of templates in Canva. So literally up the top here, templates. You can search templates. So for example, you go fitness, and there's a ton load of templates in there that you could use. Obviously, if you pick something that you would probably love to create yourself, perfect. What Ash and I were speaking about yesterday is that there's a lot of marketing companies out there now that, again, like we said earlier, like that sort of prey on personal trainers, the fact that they don't know how to use Canva, they don't know how to use Facebook ads, you know, stuff like this, and they sort of supply a service. Don't get me wrong, I know that's what Ash and I do, but I'd like to think that, you know, hopefully by now, especially with Ash more than me, that it's a genuine desire to get you guys to where we want you to be. Whereas someone who's good at marketing and some of these templates you see, they're like, Jesus Christ, I could have done better than that myself. But again, as we were saying yesterday, I think it's all well and good buying someone else's templates, but if there's thousands of people buying that same template, and some of them are almost worded, so all you've got to do is put your picture on it, and it's like, here's a fat loss template, 10 tips to like da-da-da-da-da. So if you're all putting the same content out, and it's like, well, I've been looking at that personal trainer and that one, and they've got exactly the same content, one's pink, one's yellow, it's like, are they all just copying each other? So you can sort of like put people off without even knowing it. But again, I think Canva's such a good tool, and what you can do on Instagram also is you can do it on the app, not on desktop, is you can go and archive all your old posts. So I'm sure years ago, well, I know for a fact, years ago when I started using Canva, all my stuff's archived. And as I said to you yesterday, Ash, all I do is repurpose old content, because there might be something halfway through a slide. I think, I could talk about that again. Ta-da, brand new slide. Everyone loves it. Oh, I've never seen this before. I posted it 6 months ago and you've forgotten. But it's sort of like you can repurpose it all the time, because, you know, we will sort of run out of content eventually. But that's the whole point of reusing it. And I'll share that tip that we said yesterday in a second. But I think if you go and buy templates and edit them, and you edit them so much they don't look like a template, what was the point in buying it? If you share it and it's the same template that everyone else got access to, then you're not being unique and you're not being you. So personally, I would maybe play around with these templates, because even though I'm not a fan of them, but let's take this one for example. As you select that template, bang, done. But then you can see how they've created it, like all these little images, they've just made them funny sizes. That's an image. They've got a rectangle border there. They've got their logo, their name, their number. So you could think, you know what, I'm going to go and create something similar. So you could even put it right next to it. You can have 2 tabs open, and you could, let's get some images I've already got for time. So you could just think to yourself, right, well, what did they do? So they done something like that. They put all these images in all different shapes and sizes. Let's get old man Matt Hancock involved. So you can sort of play around with all this, and then if you select them all, oops, just moved your head. You can sort of put them wherever you want them. Again, you can put a few other images and that on there. So you can just sort of think, well, you know, like learn how they've created them, and then just go in and play and faff around. You can go back and think, I don't look anything like that, so I need to go and change this, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's a really important thing. Like this, the Canva software has so many templates, and they're just to inspire you to do it. And I think the other thing with templates as well is, like you mentioned, if everyone's doing the same, kind of like we talked about earlier, like if you're aiming for everybody, you're aiming for nobody. So like the message you put behind those templates, even the content on them that you might purchase, unless you actually change it, you're not really speaking to your audience. You're speaking to too many people. Like it has to be conducive to whoever it is you're speaking to. So the message behind that content that you put out there is helping. It needs to be in line with who you want to help and the problems you're going to solve for them. So you're going to have to end up doing them anyway. And I do see it quite a lot with a lot of posts that go from trainers I know as well, and we'll put it up and you can see the same templates they purchased from wherever, left the content the same, like so just changed the image, and you just think, well, that doesn't actually, in theory, what you're talking about is helping your client, but it's not speaking to your client. That's the difference, isn't it? You've got to speak to your client when you're putting this stuff out there, and that's how you're going to start getting that interaction and things like that. It's kind of like what we said yesterday, like we have the white label library for the PT Ninja 101 course, and almost daily we get messages asking like, how does buy the white label stuff? And I'm like, no, you can't buy it because on its own it doesn't mean anything. It's not right for your clients yet. Like it only works because we have the course alongside it that shows you how to make the most of what's there. Those are there just to help you and guide you. And I think that's the thing that's missing with a lot of these templates. There needs to be something there alongside it to help guide them through how they should be used. That's me personally, anyway. My thought process on it all.
And I think like obviously not at first, because if you're paying out for Canva, again, there is a free option. You can get loads of images, you can get all the text, you can get loads of stuff on the free one. It's still very, very good. For $10.99, you get to remove backgrounds, you get more images, etc., etc. But not right now. But further down the line, I would also try and get some nicer images from somewhere. So there's like Adobe stock and stuff like this. So you have to pay for them, obviously. But again, having a really great image that not that many people will have, because sometimes if everyone's using Canva and they've all got a similar idea, you might see, like I said, you might see the same post just repurposed slightly different. So if you've got images that aren't on Canva from elsewhere, then straight away. But it's, you know, even like I've used this one already, but let's just say you can do an ebook front cover, for example. So take your image, steal this text from up here. So if I right click and steal that text, or Command and C, and I can paste it on there. And then I could just call that, I know, like something or other ebook. Text in the middle. So even that, hasn't got to be perfect straight away. Like you could make him like darker, whatever. But something tiny, like if I put a rectangle. Not a restaurant. A restaurant if you want, but rectangle. I could put a tiny little rectangle along the bottom in my brand colours, and straight away, in literally a couple of minutes, you've got like an ebook front cover, and then the rest of it can just be plain text. You know, put your logo on there. But it's like what you can do with it is just, it's going to save you so much money with branding and you know, whatever really. But is there anyone that's got any questions on like hints, tips, tricks, how you make something? Like I said, we talk about this for hours. So
this is one actually, which I think we was going to talk. I think it was going to make. I'm guessing is what you were talking about anyway a minute ago. what content do you actually put out? Like, what's the new? 'Cause one of the things a lot of people struggle with is actually what content to write.
Yeah.
So, you got any tips on like what to actually include in these things?
Yes. Again, going back to a headline that captures people's imagination. So this one got a lot of saves. It's got like 67 likes, and it had more people save it than actually flipping liked it. I think had about 100. Still, people like now like comment on it and stuff. But it's 50 content ideas in under 50 minutes. And as we were saying yesterday, as we said earlier, if you understand who your ideal client is, excuse the term, and you know what they struggle with, what they need to know, this is a simple task that you should go away and do right this second.
Mm.
So, if you think of 10 topics your client needs to know about. So, if we take Ash, for example, as our ideal client, so he needs to know about a certain type of exercise, i.e., climbing, for example, nutrition, hydration, mindset, etc., etc. Come up with 10 topics that they need help with, why they might come to you, why they would listen to a word you're saying. So come up with 10 topics. Underneath those 10, come up with 5 subtopics. So again, underneath exercise, for example, again, if it's geared towards something specific like rock climbing, cycling, sprinting, general like increased strength in a gym, come up with 5 subheadings. So just off of generic exercise, I've put home workouts, gym workouts, HIIT sessions, resistance bands sessions, upper body. So that is giving you 5 topics to talk about of exercise. If you were to do that for nutrition, hydration, mindset, etc., you can have 50 topics to talk about. Home workouts alone, you can then branch that off. Like, well, what equipment do you need for a home workout? There you go. Straight away, there's your first post. What like top 5 equipment bits of equipment for home workouts? There, or how to use my fitness app, because obviously you've all got PTD. How to use my fitness app with home training? Anything like that that's sort of going to spark interest. Gym workouts, anything secret hits, tips, myths, hacks, 5 gym hacks you should know about. Oh my god, I want to know a gym hack. Then they'll go through. HIIT sessions. Why HIIT sessions are shit? What? Why are they shit? They're not shit, but again, it's capturing that detail, that attention to go through. Resistance bands. How to build your booty with bands. Stuff like that. Upper body. Want to look like the Hulk in 6 weeks? Read this. So,
I'll
but
just say
again,
something there quick about some mention about like saying hit is shit and that kind of thing for this clickbait stuff to attach it. It's one thing when everyone's doing that, by the way. I'm guessing Karl will agree with me on this anyway. But when you do it, it has to make sense. You can't just randomly say something and then just completely disagree with it when you actually break it down. So, for example, something like hit may be shit, so you look into it. But then you might go on to say something like the reason it's not very good for most people is because they don't know how to push themselves hard enough doing the high intensity side. That's the kind of thing. It's got to be related to it. It can't just be hit is crap. But no, it's not. I'm just lying. So
don't
yeah,
do that as a one slide quote like hit is
no,
shit.
yeah, just don't do that one slide quote.
But that's as I was saying earlier, that's what's going to make people stop and think, oh my god, what's he on about? Because he gets me doing HIIT sessions.
Mm.
As you scroll through, the next slide could be, I read an article the other day where someone was slagging off HIIT training.
Mm.
Oh, okay. What did the article say? They'll swipe. This is what the article said. You could have a screenshot of it. Here's the breakdown of what they said. Here's my take on it. Here's 5 tips that are going to help you improve your own HIIT session. Call to action. Did you find this useful? Or download my free HIIT routine, whatever. So, as I said, you can start off by saying something big, bold, as I mentioned earlier as well. Big, bold. Oh my God, what the hell are they talking about? Just to get them to stop, to start scrolling. As long as you justify why you have called something rubbish or why you do or don't agree with Joe Wick's latest bloody book or whatever, as long as you justify it in those slides, you're on to winner. And it's getting people, the whole point of slide 1 is to get them to slide 2. The whole point of slide 2 is to get them to slide 3, and so on. It hasn't always got to be 10, like I said. Some, not all mine are. But yeah, it's just literally like, you know, even things like this, speaking about gurus earlier, like, you know, when people say, hurry off with Rens, I need 10 people to join my program, 24 hours only. And then 3 days later you go, I see, I need 10 people to join. And you think, well, did you not have 10 people sign up the other day? So this one's just like a bit of a piss take out of those sort of people and, you know, stuff like that. But you can get creative with, like, you can break trust. So
if you're going to add scarcity, make sure you're actually adding scarcity. Make sure you're adding that actual scarcity in real life. Like, if you have a limited amount of people for that period or that intake, that's what it is. But if it's not, don't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't flip and lie. But we see it all the time, don't we?
Yeah, exactly.
There's one there about infotainment again. You know, sort of be entertaining. But yeah, there's, like I said, there's loads of other hints, tips. There's the one about size, selling destination, not a journey, which I spoke about earlier. Stop talking about, again, we touched on this earlier, stop talking about 20 things at once. Again, if you're talking about different topics throughout the week, your feed is literally going to look like that. Whereas you want to talk about one thing 20 different ways, not 20 different.
20 different things you don't. No, that's cool. So I'm going to start just obviously try and round things up a little, because obviously I'm quite aware I've been keeping you for like an hour. Likely more than that, like an hour and 40 minutes, which is awesome. So I really appreciate you giving the time up and coming on for this. And also, my way, you got your post to do in about 20 minutes as well.
Don't be silly. That's been scheduled for weeks.
Oh, that's all right. Cool. So I appreciate you coming on and sharing. That was awesome, by the way. That especially the training side in the Canva was really, really cool. I appreciate you going into that much detail, everybody on here. Just to recap again, how can people reach out, find out more about you? What they got to do? What's your call to action?
The call to action is literally drop me a follow at the PT Mentor UK on Instagram. Like you said, you've seen that there's plenty of resource on there. I post 3 times a week, so there's always going to be resource. I do get rid of posts and repurpose them. So if you do see a post and you save it and then it disappears from your saved file, you know why, because I've hidden it. But if you need help for anything, do shout. I'm happy to answer questions, etc. I did mention to Ash yesterday, it's on a very, very long list of things to do, and it's something I keep putting off, is at some point I want to do a Canva course, because again, I've sort of missed a boat where it's just been a thought and other people have done them and people have gone, oh, they're rubbish, you give me more information on your feed. I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll do one day. So it's just always a thought, but when I do, I'll flip, I need to. But I did say to Ash yesterday, for you guys, it will be at a discounted rate. So if anyone needs it, as and when it's there, I'll chuck it out. See, I can sit here and waffle for 2 hours. I can't do like 5-minute videos to put into a bloody course.
Yeah, but during that 2 hours, you could have recorded that and put that part of your training in.
Anyone wants to buy this recording?
Yeah,
I'll just put the
talk about which. Yeah. But I appreciate that, mate. Thank you very much for jumping on. Thanks for joining us. Thanks everyone that's hung around as well. I know it's a bit longer than usual, but I do appreciate you staying on and watching. It's been awesome. Thanks for the questions and comments that are coming through. And we're back on with another live, hopefully next week.